Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Today I'm going to make two slider cards with you, and I'm not going to use a die, I'm just going to freehand cut them. Well, I'm going to use a trimmer. So let's get started. I've taken a card blank which is 5 by 7 and I've cut it down the middle. I'm also taking this, it's like a watercolor paper. I've cut that to 5 by 7 as well, and I've taken a piece of card which is 7 by 3.5. Now with this I want to cut in 1 inch from both sides, and I want to cut across the bottom, leaving 1 inch. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using my trimmer and I'm cutting across so that I get nearly a rectangle cut out. Now I'm marking the center of the middle panel so I can get my center crease line. That's what I'm doing here. I'm creasing the top where the two cuts have started, and I'm also going to have a little lip at the bottom, and I've creased that as well. So although I have a score buddy here, sometimes I use my trimmer for scoring and it works just as well. Now I'm going to use some of this blue tape. It's very like the red tape, but it's slimmer. It's only about 1/8 of an inch wide, and I've added my slider piece at the back onto that. Now, excuse me, I'm going to put some red tape along the inside. Some people use foam tape for this to give a bit of depth, but I don't think you need it, and this worked for me. So I'm going to take the cover off the red tape, and I'm going to add on my backing. And there we go, my slider works perfectly. But I've made an error here, guys. I'm going to have to cut down the top piece and write pull here. What I should have done was punched out a half circle there so that my slider piece would have been recessed, but I'll do that on the next one. Anyway, I continue on. I have this great die that I got from AliExpress. It's a happy birthday, and I have it cut out in a sparkly kind of muted gold paper, and I'm just pressing that all down to make sure it's adhered well. I'm going to put some sticky tape, double-sided tape, you can use glue or whatever you like, on the bottom half that's below the score line, and I'm going to adhere my happy birthday to that. Now I've got a lovely blank piece and I'm going to put a sentiment there, but first I'm going to take some of my dies that I got from Cork Art Supplies, and these are all kind of seascape kind of dies, and I'm going to use them to embellish my card. I've used my Gemini Go to die cut these out because they're small dies and they'll fit perfectly rather than getting the big one out. So as you can see, I've got seahorses. Well, I have a seahorse, I have a crab, some like kelp, and some seashells. I'm going to stick them around the card. I've used a matte cardstock in gold, blue and green for these die cuts. Now I need to put a sentiment inside, and I'm also going to put one at the top here. The sentiment that I've used inside, this is from, again, another AliExpress set that I have, and I've just realized that, you know what, I need to finish off this top pull tab a little bit more. So I'm going to use my trimmer in the hope of getting nice straight lines to cut the corners off the pull tab. Now my blade on my Fiskars needs to be replaced, and I should have done that before I started this video, but I didn't. And as you can see here, the card moves and I get a wonky cut. What are you going to do? Whether I use a scissors or not, there's always something, a wonky piece stuck down or a wonky cut. But you know what? This card is handmade. It's not a Hallmark card. It's not a generically mass-produced card. This is a one-off handmade card. So I'm going to take my nail file. This is one that I use for my crafting, for when I don't get a very good cut. I use it just to sand off the edges so that I get a nice, even, fine edge. And there we go, it's going to work perfect. Just a little hint there or tip there for you. So now I've decided, as I said, I'm going to put a sentiment on the top pull, and I want to put a sentiment there so that I can write my message to whoever I'm sending my card to. I know I could do it on the back, and sometimes I would on some cards put a place on the back, but I thought, you know what, I might as well use the top pull tab. So I have my stamp there ready to go, but I'm going to stamp some of these fishy sentiments or images that I have. This is a Marianne design, Fish in the Reef, and I'll put a link if I can find it down below. And I've decided to take some of the starfishes and the, I don't know, is it kelp? And a little group of fishes and some bubbles and an octopus, and I'm going to embellish the whole thing. And you know what? I went a little bit OTT, but I don't care. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. Whoever gets it is going to look at it and go, oh, this is fabulous, I hope. But yeah, I took my VersaFine different colored mini ink cubes that I have, and I used them all. I got this set on, I think it was Amazon. And yeah, so I'm happy with that card. Now we're going to move into the second card, and this is the second slider card that I made. So I've used Beach Life by Helz Cuppelditch. I love Hel's work, or Helen. I love her work. Her Christmas stuff is just brilliant. So I got this whole pack last year in the range, and I got it on special offer, and I was just, that's gonna do me for next year. So I've been busting to get this lot out, and yeah, today is the first day I got this pack out and used. So there's lots in it. There's the decoupage, there's the wooden frames, there's the little wooden toppers that are like a hut, there's the wooden ice cream toppers, there's the 16 character toppers, they're like die cuts, and the little bunting. So let's go ahead. I'm basically going to make the same card, but I'm going to remember to punch, and I have my punch there to remind me so that I'll have, you know, it'll be even on top. I'm also going to take some of the bunting, and I'm hoping to do a little area that when you slide your slider out, the top is going to have bunting that looks as if it's just floating in the air. That's my plan. So here we go. I have all my pages ready, and I was going to go ahead and freehand this cutting, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to box clever this time. I'm going to mark an inch in from each side, and I'm going to mark up from the bottom. I'm going to do my lines so that when I put this in my trimmer, I can just follow the lines that I have marked, and I'm going to get nice even cuts, and everything is going to be perfect. This is what a die would do. It would cut out this area, and it would also cut the semicircle out on the top. Now I'm going to use my Martha Stewart scoring buddy or scoring pal here, and I'm going to use that to score my tab. The little one at the bottom, the score line in the middle, and the score line up at the top. And I'm going to pop my sliding piece on there, but first I'm going to remember to put a little mark in the center so I can use my punch, and it's a scalloped edge punch, so a little different. So now I'm going to put some tape on the back of this, and on the last one I put 2 rows of tape, but I'm only going to put 2 rows at the bottom, because although the other card it would slide perfectly, it was a little bit tight. So you can see here now I've got my slider piece, and I have stamped a sentiment on it, and I did this in error, and I still went ahead, I stuck it down, and I realized, yep, that's done wrong. But I'm going to just freehand it and stamp it once I have the 2 lots popped together. So I've stuck it down, pulled up my slider, and realized, where's the stamp piece gone? I had a crafting error, so I'm going to need to stamp, but I'll just free stamp it using a stamping block and pop it down there. You can just see it in there, but guys, listen, it's handmade, the joys of it. So I've got out a little stamp that I'm going to use. I faffed around with maybe using my mini Misty, but I decided I'd pray to the gods that it would stamp okay, and it did. I used my VersaFine ink, and here I should have left it dry. There was no need to close it down. and it's going to have a little bit of smears, but I'm going to clean that off using my eraser. Now I've taken out the decoupage set, and you pop out all these bits and they're numbered, so you just put one on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, and you can either use little foam tabs or your foam tape, and I'm going to use the foam tape for this, and I get very finicky with my little bits of foam that I'm going to stick right on at the end, but it gives such a fabulous layered effect. I love this. I love doing this on cards, and when I see a set that has decoupage in it, I have to have it because it's brilliant. It's so cool looking. So you will have seen that I used my nail file again to sand off the edges. When you pop these toppers out, where they're connected to the paper, there's little bits. You can use the scissors to nip them off, or you can use a nail file again, which is what I did. So now I'm getting the very small little pieces with little fine pieces of foam tape put onto them, and I'm layering them up, and you can see there on the right hand side I have a little dish. It's actually the lid off a tin of biscuits. It was a small little tin of biscuits, but when I cut my foam tape and I have little bits left over, I'll either stick them onto a bit of greaseproof paper or just pop them into that tin, because it doesn't matter if you have a tiny little bit. You see, when you're doing decoupage, those tiny little bits come in handy. Now I've got my really strong double-sided tape, and I'm putting some of that on the lower half of the slider part, and that way I'm going to be able to attach my topper to that. But I've taken out some really strong, heavy, what's it called? I've totally forgot the name of it. Acetate. That's the word I was looking for. Holy God, don't you hate it when things go out of your head like that? So I've taken my two little strips of acetate, and I'm going to tuck them behind my topper, and I'm going to put my string and my little triangular banner pieces onto that, so it'll look like as if my little banner is floating up in the air. That's the plan, guys. I'm going to use some different tapes, my little blue tape and some of my heavy duty sticky tape, and I'm also going to use my glue gun for sticking these down, because I want to be sure that they're not going to come off. So I've stuck the two end pieces there onto some of my tape, but I'm going to use the glue gun for the other three pieces. Now in the pack that you get of your bunting, there's this size pieces, and there's also smaller little triangular bunting pieces. In hindsight, I should have used those. I think it would have looked better on the card, but in saying that, I'm quite happy with, you know, how it's turned out. But I think if you're going to do this card, if you have these and want to do similar, I would use smaller bunting. I think it would look better for a finish. So here I am, I'm sticking down using the glue, the hot glue gun on the back of them. And all is going well. Everything is stuck down. And I'm happy enough. The glue is really hot, but I have asbestos fingers. So I press them down, and I'm going to take off the tape, stick it down there where I think it's going to look about right, and with the magic of editing, there we go. I wrote pull on the pull tab, and I thought, you know what, I could embellish that. But first I'm going to use some of these little enamel dots and pop them on the little banner, the Just For You banner, and around. So I was thinking what sentiment I'm going to put on that while I was putting the enamel dots on, and I have a lovely Love from Lizzie's stamp set that I got in one of my kits, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put that on there. It's really lovely, and the sentiment is just gorgeous. It's have a beautiful day, and it's the Flutterby stamp set, and you can get this in the Love from Lizzie website. I'll leave a link below for that. So there we go, guys. That's my Helz Cuppelditch Beach Life card finished. These are the two slider cards. I've only ever made two, and I recorded both of them so you could see my errors and improve. We don't have to have a die for everything. Sometimes you can just freehand it. And there's so many great crafters on YouTube that do great cards and inspire for you to make some awesome stuff. So that's it. I'm going to say thank you for watching and thank you for following. I'm on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. I'll have the links below and also the links for all the products I've used that I can find. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.